again, people. We'll talk more about this ethics reform that we need, why we need ethics reform, why we need laws changed so bad, so strong to prevent things from happening. We already have nearly every office of law, land, or elected official, law enforcement, public servants. They all have ethics laws, rules, guidelines written into their professions, but they're rarely ever enforced or tested or held to the standard to which they should be. Now, this is the reason why we need ethics reform. Because you have people like, if you go to the Tennessee Treasury Comptroller's website and you pull up Henderson County, Tennessee, and look at the audit reports for the last 2 years, 14 and 15, you'll see where the auditors from the Tennessee State Comptroller's website have made report of the clerks over here, county clerks, court clerks, in violation of the rules and standards by which they're governed. That they keep multiple amounts of money in the drawers, more than they should, where many people are going in and out in the same drawer, where they're not properly logging and categorizing what comes in and what goes out. They're not keeping proper detail. The money, it's money. Large amounts of money. They're not recording properly. It's in and out. 2 years now, the Tennessee State Comptroller's website and auditors have noticed this, made suggestion that administration, management powers correct this thing. But it has yet to change. They're still in error, still in fault. I ask you why. It would look to me that our government would want to correct these problems and be in compliance, but they don't care. You look at the officers over here. You look at my other videos. You've seen the things that they do, the immoral and unethical things that they do, from making false statements to creating false paperwork to leaving children in meth homes so they can turn their moms out for snitching. These are all horrible, horrible things. And now, here comes a horrible thing, the death of Debbie Phoenix. Now, she didn't have a lot. Sometimes she could be unpleasant, but she's all right. She didn't do nothing wrong. She didn't deserve her death. This cause, we know what the cause is, don't we? If you look at the recent events around this month, you'll see where some people have been supposedly placed in jail in other counties away around the 1st. And then about the middle of the month, around the 10th and 12th, a lot of them came back in. There's been lots of people who were picked up supposedly and called in for this charge and that charge, and first one thing and another, while they're doing their roundup that they have. Well, here's what I would tell you, that the control and manipulation by law enforcement and drug enforcement and Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, they're not really trying to fix the problem, they create the problem. With these ongoing investigations between Decatur County, Henderson County, and TBI, they got a little mixed up. Now they create these things, what they call roles or situations, characters that we might deemed actors, go out and cause events, drop rumor, set up situations to make things move in the directions they want to. You see, law enforcement wants to sell the drugs, make the drugs, distribute the drugs, sell the drugs, control the drugs, and then profit from it all around. And they want you to believe that, they're working their jobs. Well, one hand not watching what the other one was doing or being aware of it during this recent roundup where they create and stage events of calls to make people act in a certain way. They're pushing them in directions. Well, they created some stress and problems there somewhere that resulted in Miss Phoenix's death. Now, a lot of times they'll create situations to try to cause people to act in one way or another by sending out their little snitches and their informants to create stories and events to anger, to rile emotion, or to stir trouble, or to make things move around in different directions. They do this in order to be evil and wicked. The wicked, you hear me? That's what the Bible says. The Bible says that the wicked control the evil. It says that evil people shall have wicked taskmasters over them. It says that on Judgment Day, that when the evil stand before the Lord and they're questioned, that their lips shall not be heard. it shall be to the right of them. The wicked shall stand and answer for them, because the wicked direct the evil. Just like the TBI and the investigators of the counties direct the evil and rumor to the drug markets. When the simple fact would be easier if they just arrested the guilty motherfuckers. But when you're supplying the drugs, moving the drugs, busting and investigating the drugs, what are you doing? You're controlling your very own market. People, these things have to stop. Why are they getting away with these things? Because of ethics. Because they know they're not going to be held accountable. They're going to be able to disregard, disdirect, play it off to, oops, we made a mistake, working for the greater good. No, you're not. You're working for the greater evil, money, gains. And we know it, and you know it. I know you didn't start out that way. You didn't start out to be evil. You started out to do the right thing, a just thing. That's why you went into enforcement, to try to do better for the communities. But you don't understand it. When you accept that little bit of evil thing, right, to pull in, you think you're gaining something, you're not. Because you don't see all evil, bigger evil that come in behind it. And you're not aware of it. I know you're not. I don't think that any of you would normally and justifiably create those problems without being sucked in by something that you're being deceived by. Right? The judge over here, disregarding what it be rules, guidelines, and laws of the state. I recently was up there on order of protection. Now, according to the U.S. and state laws, an order of protection can only be issued under circumstances. There has to be an abuse victim, a sexual abuse victim, a stalking victim, or a domestic violence victim. Now, these laws demand that a victim must be there in order to issue an order of protection. If there's been no charge of stalking, no charge of domestic violence, no charge of sexual abuse, then therefore there can be no victim. Now, when I went over there on my last one, I presented the paperwork that I retrieved from the Equal Access to Justice website for Tennessee, where the Tennessee Supreme Court has forms on there that have been approved and recognized by the justices to be used in the lower courts. This is so people who are poor, who can't afford attorneys, people who don't have the means, can represent themselves in the court and receive equal justice. Well, when you take those paperwork and those forms and you present them to the judge over here and he totally disregards them, then you're not receiving any justice. We don't no need for that federal money to be generated and create these websites and all the promotion that goes into equal access to justice when the lower courts will disregard it blatantly. I ask you why? Because the judge can get away with it. Why? Because he knows that he's not going to be prosecuted, or he's not going to be remanded, or he's not going to be subject to criminal penalties or civil penalties. Because the judges and the lawyers, they write the laws. They push it on up, and they are the representatives who create the laws in the legislation, and they enact them and come back down. The lawyers protect themselves. The judges protect themselves. So that when they do these intentional violations, because we know that they're intentional violations, that judge is supposed to be a legal expert, a lawyer, then have years of experience, and then get put into there. He's supposed to be an expert on it. He's supposed to know a lot better than anybody else. But when he knowingly and willingly violates it, he does it with intent, doesn't he? Ethical disregard, moral disregard. Totally. Why does he do this? Because he knows he won't be punished for it. Because he'll only be subject to judge review, judicial review. Slap on the hand, a warning. They're not going to punish him by putting him in jail. They're not going to lock him down. An intentional, direct violation of the ones that we hold to be higher. Supposed to hold themselves to a higher standard, who have full knowledge of the law, directly and intentionally violating it, and no recourse. No recourse. Do you know what that does to the human spirit? When a man tries to stand and receive justice for himself, and then for the judge to intentionally, in violation of all laws and all that's right and good, disregard it. And not only disregard, but investigate from the bench. He's only supposed to judge upon what is presented to him. When I was over there last time, I gave him the form and a motion to request dismissal because there was no abuse victim, no stalking victim, and no domestic or sexual abuse victim. And this is true. And then he asked the petitioner, he said, well, have there been any threats? To which the petitioner responded, no. There have been no threats, not verbal or written. She said he's been careful not to state anything or say anything that could be considered a threat. And then the judge says, because the petitioner was not the one she was petitioning for, she was petitioning for someone else. He says, well, is she present? She said, no. He said, well, have her go write a statement, an affidavit, take it to a notary, have it notarized, and bring it back to me so I can read that before I make a decision. Well, I wasn't allowed to see that. I wasn't allowed to confront my accuser. And the judge has no right to go and issue requests for information, to investigate, to give legal advice. Still, there would be no stalking abuse victim, sexual abuse victim, or other, and no allegations of threats. Yet he would go and make this person make a statement, an affidavit, basically, to review later, investigating from the bench. Was I privy to that information? No. Have I received any order, whether the order of petition was granted or denied? No. I didn't even receive another court date as far as his decision would be. It's open to me, I reckon. As part, man, why do we have these problems? Because the laws are not written to afford it. Then the judges can get away with things, the administrator knows things, the clerks can get away with things. I went to go for appeal. So I went back to the Supreme Justice, or Justice for Equal Access to Justice, Supreme Court approved website for the state of Tennessee, downloaded the forms for indigency, notice of appeal, and request for appeal, and request that the filing fees be postponed. I took it to the clerk's office. She had 10 days to file in. Took it to the clerk's office. She refused to accept my paperwork because I didn't have the cash for the filing fees. I said, ma'am, I don't have to require to pay the whole front. She said, yeah, you pay up front, and then if the judge decides that you're indigent and you can't afford it, then he'll give you the money back. Oh, ma'am, do you sound how ridiculous that sounds? If I can afford the filing fees, I wouldn't be indigent. What do you mean I have to pay for the filing fees, and then request that the judge look at it and declare me indigent to receive the filing fees back? It's not that it's a money thing, it's an instant money thing. I'm poor, I live month to month. I didn't have the money, especially within a 10-day period. It'd be another month at least, before I get my money in. But she refused to even look at the paperwork. I said, ma'am, would you please just look at these paperwork? I got them from the Equal Access to Justice for Tennessee that's approved by the Tennessee Supreme Court. These forms are recognized as to be used for these purposes. She denied me again. So I had to leave without my appeal. So, let's see how that evil prevented me from getting any justice? The judge would not follow rules and conduct in the law, investigated from the bench. I went to the clerks, and the clerks refused to accept my paperwork to allow me to file for an appeal because I'm poor. Now, where's the ethics in that? It's running rampant. It's wild. Back before, we talked about this already before, about me and being on the legal law enforcement for running the snitch program. I don't like the way they do business, I called DHS to a lady who was a meth mom, trying to get her some help in a situation that she was in. CPS, law enforcement, and under the direction of the DA, went out there. They didn't test her. They didn't take the children from the home. They turned her into a snitch. And then they made her file an order of protection against me. Why? I'm the only one trying to get help to her. She don't need protection from me. She needs protection from them. So I went and talked to, I had my neighbor contact Steve McDaniel, our state representative for this area, and set up a meeting. And I talked with him, met with him, told him the situation. At any point in time, he could have picked up the phone and called and made those things change. What happened after our conversation? Nothing. Did the children stay in the home? Yeah. Did meth moms continue to do meth? Yeah. Working for the police? Yeah. Later got busted for manufacturing, shaking bacon, and got caught later after that with more meth on the street selling it. Now, is that helping the children? No. Is that helping the mother? No. It's compounding the problem, ain't it? Now we've got hazardous chemicals being dumped around out there somewhere because we don't know how long it's manufactured and where at. We don't know where they should dispose of it at. And she's selling drugs. That's making the problem worse, ain't it? But she's doing all this under the protection of law enforcement. Because they're not going to bust her snitch, are they? Whereas if they'd done the right thing to begin with, the kids would be out of the meth home. at less risk, and the mother would be getting treatment and maybe correct herself. If not, at least the kids wouldn't be subjected to it. So now the kids grow up learning and being taught that you do drugs, you snitch out on people, and turn on your friends and inform them to the police. The police protect you and let you run around and sell drugs and promote methamphetamine use and sales in the drug market. The police support it and encourage it, participate in it. It's wrong, ain't it? Does anybody else see how wrong that is? Or is it just me? Why do they do it? Because they can get away with it. Because the judge is not going to be held accountable for all his dirt. So the clerks run wild, and the judges run wild, and the law enforcement runs wild. Why? Because they're not being held accountable. They know no one's going to enforce it. This is why we need sweeping ethics reform. It's not just that case and instance. There's many more out there, all over the country. People, there's an evil out there, and it resides at our local law enforcement level and court system. Because you start from the low end and to rise it up through. So if the lower courts and legal system is corrupted, then you can't bring it up through there, can you? Because you have to start with the local. And then your local, you peel in and carry it up. Well, the next stage up looks back at the one below it and it takes into consideration those things. Well, like for instance me, a single man, nobody to support him, no money behind him, goes up there and tries to do something, and he goes against what they're doing. They cause him to be disenfranchised. They spread rumor, innuendo, and talk bad about him. He's a nut, he's crazy, he's on drugs. Maybe so. But I'm not nutty on that part. So when you go to the next court, right, the court reviews down to the lower court. And their opinions and views of the situation. They take that into consideration, a large consideration. But if they're corrupted and evil and twisting things around, it makes it hard to get that next one done. Because they're going to take into consideration what they say. Because they're supposed to be authoritative, just, and honorable. Therefore, their word means more than mine. Mine is nothing. It's just me. If they discredit me, say he's a nut, disregard him, then they're going to take that into consideration. They're going to listen to me at the fact that maybe they might be corrupt. See how it stagnates? Makes it worse? That's why we have to have ethics reform. We can't rely on people to hold themselves to a higher standard. They don't do it. They're corrupt. They're evil. They're greedy. They do it because they can get away with it. They do it because we don't enforce it. That's why we need sweeping ethics reform. For the children's sake. I took that all the way through, didn't I? To CPS, Child Protective Services for the state. To law enforcement, local law enforcement, right? To my state representative. And what happened? Nothing. None of these people did anything to help them children. Nobody. Not the law enforcement, not the Child Protective Services, not the district attorney, not my representative. Nobody did nothing to help them children. Still they are out there in the meth home with the mom now running around informing, breaking relationships, manufacturing, and carrying on. And the laws protect them the whole time. Hard to believe, but it's true. Why? Because they can. They're not moral and ethical enough. Because they're going to be punished. They know it. Whereas if it was right, that CPS worker, that officer, and the district attorney who let it go should be charged with conspiracy to commit child abuse, conspiracy to commit child neglect. Why? Because a mother who does drugs can be charged with child abuse, child neglect, child endangerment. Well, when 3 organizations, the Tennessee Department of Children's Services, the Henderson County Law Enforcement, and the District Attorney's Office, make the conscious decision to leave those children in that situation, they're conspired to commit child abuse, child neglect, right? Child endangerment. They made it worse. They didn't help the situation. Now the mother is subject to reprisal from street gangs or drug dealers because of her association with law enforcement and informant. It puts the kids in a direct line of fire from higher violence, don't it? They made it worse. They didn't help nothing. Does anybody see that this is wrong? Or am I just the crazy man that they say? Right? I'm crazy, ain't I? When I went to go to the local bar, have entertainment night, shoot the pool, 1/3 of the patrons got them left. Somebody said, well, it wasn't as bad as last time. Last time you came in, half of them got up and left. So I don't know why they're scared of you. I can't tell you why. because local law enforcement has had such a hard time dealing with me, and I've raised such a stink about their issues and their wrongdoings, and they haven't been able to do anything with me, that now they've started distributing rumor through the street about me. I don't know what it is. I haven't heard it directly, but it's enough to disturb people out there. Not just people who know me, people who have been received word of me. Because I don't go nowhere. I don't do anything. I'm not involved in social groups and circles. Therefore, for the mass people to have this fear of me, is because somebody has spread rumor and innuendo about me. Now, local law enforcement has many snitches out there, people to distribute word through. They spread this rumor for one reason: to discredit me and to cause people to fear me. Why? Because this way they can establish a basis of community thought and common knowledge. This way they can use action against me of force and violence if they have the opportunity. Because they want to get away with me, do away with me. They want me away from them. I cause too much trouble. I cause too much attention to be brought. I tell the truth. Now that they've started these rumor things widespread throughout the communities, they've done it themselves in again, haven't they? If the federal government would come in and investigate these rumors, they'll trace them right back to the snitches, to the law enforcement, to where they're conspiring to create a situation, the actors, to belittle me, to cause people to fear me, to establish justifiable cause to use force against me when they get a chance. Because they want to kill me and do away with me, get rid of me, because they can't stop me. I will not back down. I will not go away. I will continue. You understand what I'm saying? A corrupt law enforcement system, how it goes against one man, I can prove it. It's happening right now. But can I get anybody to investigate? No, it won't be the locals, that's for sure, or the state. They're in with them. For 7 years now, I've been complaining about these issues, building documentation about these issues, and filing everywhere I can. Writing emails. I sent over 1,500 to 2,000 emails to every state representative, every judicial member, every judicial support member, every state in the United States representative, Senate and House. You know how many responses I got? 4. For Tennessee, 0. Anybody concerned about it? None. Anybody doing anything about it? No. Why? Because they don't care. Because evil is in there. I'm the good guy trying to fight against the evil. They don't put me down, push me away. They don't want me to change it. People, this is our government. These are our laws. We have elections coming up. We need to change these things. We need to get it on the voter thing. If I could just get 100,000 people to stay and watch my channel, subscribe to it, to where I know that you can vote, I get a little more. But they have this thing at the website for the United States White House called Accessing to Justice and the President, where you can submit a petition in for a bill or a law, and then you take it and it publishes across. And if you can get 100,000 people to agree and vote with it, then the president will issue an executive order along those guidelines. People, this is immediate and swift change. It doesn't take a long time for lobbying and things. If people would just listen, we could change this. 100,000 ain't that many people. There's over 300 million people in America. We just need 100,000. And we can change things instantly nearly. Within 3 months, period. We can issue executive orders to reform these laws, to stop this. We don't have to battle. Last 7 years I've been battling it. Can't nobody change it. Won't nobody listen to me. I'm discredited. They all agree that it's wrong, but nobody does anything about it. I'm not asking you to stand up and behind me and protest and be subject to the same scrutiny that I am and intentional targets. I ain't scared. I've been doing this for 7 years. They haven't got me yet, right? They haven't set me up, pinched me up, and caused me no grief yet. For 7 years I've been standing, saying these things. Nothing's happened to me, people. My Lord's with me. Nothing's going to happen to you for standing behind me and saying, yes, he's right. If we get the 100,000 votes on the executive petition, we'll have a law, and they'll stop it. And they won't be able to do it again. Then who can they come after? Nobody. And they'll prosecute these people if we got the attention to it. We know it's wrong. If it's your daughter, your granddaughter, your niece, whatever, it may be more special to you, wouldn't it? People, we got to do it before it happens to your people, right? Sweeping ethics reform is needed in this world, in this United States, in this government. We all heard people say all the time, well, you can't fight the system. One person can't make a difference. You can't change the world. I'm here to say I don't believe that. I believe that with God, my Lord, my God, standing behind me, and obviously He is. For the last 7 years, they haven't touched me yet. Small instances, but nothing major. He's got to be with me. Now I need you to get with me too. Like this channel, subscribe to this channel, and be ready to vote when time comes along. People, we can do this. You don't have to leave the comfort of your house. You don't have to send money. You don't have to protest. You don't have to be recognized. You can do it from the safety and security of your home. I will stand up and be the voice. I will be the target. They can shoot at me. They can come after me. They can try to capture me, discredit me, jail me, set me up. I don't care. Talk rumor about me. Don't matter. I'm not worried about it. I feel confident. I'm all right. And I'm standing for you. You don't have to let your name famous be known. You don't have to let them know who you are. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel, and when time comes, we'll be able to do this. Don't just restrict yourself to Tennessee and Henderson County. People, this is all across our nation. And whether you're aware of it or not, it happens. I'm telling you, don't wait until you're disenfranchised, till your rights have been violated, till the law is descriptive against you before you act, because this is going on against the poor all the time. And they're making money from it. They're profiteering from it. Corruption. People, we can do something. It's not hard. I'm not asking you to get out and make a trip to the store or trudge across the country or make a long trip or anything. Just click subscribe to the web channel and listen and watch. We can change things, people. I know we can. Thank you for your time.